Understanding language teaching methodology, approach, design, and procedure. According to Anthony, an approach is a set of assumptions about language and learning. A method is a planned way of teaching based on the approach, and a technique is specified classroom activities and procedures. According to Richardson Rogers, an approach is theories of language learning. A design is how these theories shape syllabi, materials, and tasks. And a procedure is classroom techniques and activities. Now, there can be a theory of language about how a language is structured and used, and a theory of learning about how learners acquire and internalize knowledge. So we can have a structuralist theory of language, so language as a system of rules that is grammar-based, or a functional view where language is a tool for communication, or an interactionist view where language is a social process. Now, the theories of learning are, for example, the behaviorist model, where learning through repetition and reinforcement happens; cognitive, where learning is an active mental process; and sociocultural, where learning happens through social interaction. Let's take a look at cognitivism and comprehensible input. Learners integrate new knowledge progressively. Let's take a look at Krashen's comprehensible input. So we have input plus one principle, or I plus one, where learners are given input slightly above their current level. It is important to grade materials in this model. So example activities can include using different simplified reading texts. Now let's take a look at an interesting theory called the noticing theory. Learners must consciously notice language features to acquire them. It can be of two types. Now, noticing the gap, comparing own output with a model. So for example, comparing your own pronunciation with a recorded model, that's noticing the gap. And the second one is noticing the language. So identifying structures in input, listening for how a function, for example, requesting, is structured. Communicative approach and inferencing, they're related. So language serves as a communicative tool. It has a communicative function. Inferencing skills, for example, learners guessing meaning from context. An activity can be listening to conversations and then identifying implied meanings. Zone of proximal development and scaffolding. Now, Vygotsky's ZPD depends on learning through an appropriate supportive context. Scaffolding is gradual removal of assistance as learners progress. An example activity can be guided dialogues moving towards freer practice. Task-based learning. TBLT emphasizes real communication. For example, open-ended tasks and errors are natural, as opposed to behaviorism, where the focus is on accuracy, and activities can include control drills, and error avoidance is very crucial. Dictation and cognitive processing. Dictation supports both structuralist and cognitive learning. Structuralist because it places emphasis on accuracy, and cognitive learning because the processing and reconstruction of language happens. Example activity: dictogloss, reconstructing a text after listening. So effective language teaching requires a balanced methodology. Please reflect on how these concepts apply in your teaching. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.